stop. They're not going to stop getting a badge. Well, they got another thing. Stop nothing. I want to think about that.
Live like venom. Anthony and JoJo were heroes. Fuck our rottenhouse. Fuck his attorneys. Fuck the Fight Back Foundation that put up the money to bail him out. Fuck Michael Lindell, Mr. My Pillow guy. All of them.
Fuck 12.
They're trying to make him into some kind of a hero. But we know that they're a bunch of cowards. They're a bunch of cowards. And they saw everything that happened last year. They saw the explosion of passion and rage and determination in the streets last year. And that's what they're worried about. That's why the police are now deputizing the white supremacists, because the state alone, they can't even handle this. They can't even handle what's coming. So we are going to gather up here. We're going to gather up here, get a welcome, get us together to kick off, and then we'll continue over at the Federal Building. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming and standing with Kenosha. We stand today with Jacob Blake. We want justice for Jacob Blake. We want justice for Joseph Rosenwald. Justice for Anthony Cooper. Who, by the way, was Jacob Blake's friend and who was out there because he's Jacob Blake's friend and he went out there and called for justice. So we're out here calling for justice for all of them, but we also know that this whole system is guilty. We're begging. We're not begging the system to prosecute itself. What we really need to be doing, though, is building power and building our movement and not waiting on them to try to give us some justice that a white supremacist court is never going to provide. Woo!
Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. And I don't know if you had any friends that didn't come out tonight because they were scared they're gonna get arrested. They're scared they're gonna get injured. I'm a proud member, the co-founding member of All of Us Anonymous, and I got a chapter. And I got a chapter in Wisconsin. So the guy that got shot in the arm was our ally, right? And for me, I come out because I recognized that over a year ago that they actually kidnapped some of our people, the militia. They actually beat them up. They actually put bleachers on our clothes. They actually flattened our tires. They actually were standing on the roofs pointing high beam rifles at us. So this day shouldn't be a day that we forget. And I think that if we surrender our streets right now, we'd be surrendering them forever. So at a certain point, I'd like to just thank you for coming out. Because this moment is a special moment. It ain't just like several people got shot. I think that what we're doing right now is allowing people to suppress our freedom of speech, to suppress our freedom of assembly, to suppress us, period. So these streets that we stand on right now is important. Even though we could be living in a bubble when we're in Oakland and other parts of this country, we might not be living in that bubble. We might not have that luxury. We might not necessarily can walk across the street. We might not can do any of that stuff. So if we don't make a demand here, but then we have freedom there, we won't have freedom here. Woo!
There you go.
Check.
No justice! No justice!
No peace!
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 Can you guys hear me? I'm fucking angry. I left my son. I come here tonight. You gotta wonder. Are you going home? Cold. Murder. Came out with a gun. Drove mile after mile. Antagonized. Forced the courageous people to stand up against him. And then murdered them point blank with a long rifle. Kyle Rittenhouse is a sniveling white supremacist coward. And this verdict, like she said, is a green light to every sniveling coward, every wannabe white supremacist vigilante, every little Nazi who can go and buy themselves a gun to take the streets to intimidate, to threaten, to assault and murder people who stand on the side of justice. I will raise my fist right now and salute. Raise your fist in the air. Anthony Huber and Jojo Rosenbaum had their names dragged through the mud in that court. Looked at their records and their past and tried to steal away the truth of who they were. The truth of who they were is all of us. Fierce, courageous, selfless. These are heroes. And at a time when so many people are caught up in their own shit, their own selfies and their lives and whatever they got is me first, mine first, identity first, whatever it is. These brothers step forward. I'm going to say not as allies, but as people of conscience. Who said, not today, motherfucker. Who answered the call that we all think about. When that moment comes, when I have to decide if I'll put my body on the line for what's just and right, will I do it? And they did it. And they're not the only ones. Say her name, Heather. Higher. Higher. All the people who came out I'm a revolutionary. And what this calls for, what this demonstrates, is exactly what is all the signs here is that this system is guilty. Say after me, Cal Rittenhouse is guilty. Cal Rittenhouse is guilty. This whole system is guilty. This whole system is guilty. These GOP fascists are guilty. These GOP fascists are guilty. And what we got to look at now, and remember, that from today forward, a line has been drawn in the sand. And people are going to have to decide, which side are you going to stand on? This is not a time for silence. This is not a time for business as usual. This is not a time for hoping the system will do right by the people in this country, by black people, by our Native American brothers and sisters, by the planet itself, by women, by people who choose to stand on the side of what is true and scientific against all these lies. That is what is at stake. It is the very future of humanity. And so when I stand out here and I call on all of you guys, it's easy to snipe. It's easy to turn away. But the reality is we need to get organized for an actual revolution. Am I right? When I say a revolution, I mean to overthrow this system. Such a honey-mouthed little representative. I don't mean crawling behind somebody because they're black or a woman. I mean a revolution to overthrow this capitalist and imperialist system. This ain't called for, then what does? Then what does? They got a target on all of our backs.
That's right.
Anytime you go anywhere, it's open season. And if we allow them to do this, if we allow them to pull us all into some kind of acceptable kind of protest, if we go off on some kind of harebrained scheme that shit ain't gonna work, then they will get away with it. So if you ain't afraid of actual revolution, if you ain't afraid of getting organized, if you ain't afraid of standing up for the people in this country and around the world, then come, check us out. Check out this revolution. Go to redcom.us. Because at this moment in time, there are two futures that are presenting themselves. One is a fascist white supremacist civil war, where in their dreams they can annihilate black people, brown people, immigrants, uppity women, trans people, queer people, anybody who don't go with their program. That is what their plans are. That is what they are arming for. That is what they are training for. But another future is an opportunity that presents itself at this time. When right at the top of this country, the two parties are warring against each other, conflicted. It gives an opening to the masses of people to say, fuck this shit, once and for all. Overthrow it and make an actual revolution in the name of the people. Say his name, Anthony Hoover. Say his name, Jojo Rosenbaum. Say all their names of our brothers who have fallen and our sisters who've fallen and the heroes who stepped forward and all of us out here. I'll say this in Oscar. That's right. We're in Oscar. Hell yeah. We're in Oscar Grant Plaza. Breonna Taylor. Michael Brown. Ahmaud Arbery. That's right. And George Floyd.
Sean Montorosa.
Get this declaration, this call that the revolutionaries are
Mario Gonzalez.
Don't be afraid of actual leadership in science. Check out Babavaki, the architect of the new communism. If you don't agree, then don't agree. If we're wrong, then challenge us. But don't run away and say, well, I ain't gonna check that out, because in this moment, we better have some motherfucking leadership, and we better get organized, and we better set our sights on overthrowing this entire mess. Right on, y'all. No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice? No peace? No racist?
Police.
No justice?
No peace.
No racist?
Police.
No justice? No
Peace.
No racist?
Police.
No justice?
No peace.
No racist?
Police.
And vigilante motherfuckers. I won't steal the bullhorn, but I might drop it.
That's all right.
All right, y'all. So my name is George Gavis. I'm a proud co-founder of All of Us or None. All of us are 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 none. So I'm here because we have an incumbent responsibility to stand with our comrades in Wisconsin. Our All of Us Who Know Wisconsin chapter is right there on the front line. They've been out there facing down Proud Boys and all these other white supremacists, as my brother, my mentor, my elder Dorsey described. They were out there as part of a justice caravan in Kenosha, standing up for justice for Jacob Blake, a black man who was shot in the back 7 times by Kenosha police. So let's not get it confused, because I had a reporter earlier say, is this really about race? Yeah, fuck yeah, it's about race. Stop asking stupid questions. So let's not conflate that. Let's be real. We asked our white allies to stand in the line of fire. That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. We asked our white allies to leverage and exercise their white privilege to stand and protect black and brown bodies. So yes, this is about racial justice. Don't get it twisted. And they paid the ultimate price. So we're here to stand up now for them. Because if we don't, the future is fucking bleak. We replaced the previous administration, those racist, fascist chief, the orange guy. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? You don't gotta say that piece of shit's name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The racist, fascist, and chief. We replaced that motherfucker, right? We replaced him with the neoliberal corporatist who also don't give a fuck about us. Where the fuck is the Biden-Harris administration on this?
They agree with it.
They said the jury is spoken. The jury is spoken. Well, guess what? They don't see us until they fucking feel us. And we know the power of the people can move fucking mountains. So we will replace this corporatist neoliberal. He ain't gonna protect the people. Then we will replace his sorry ass too. We will replace his sorry ass too. We are gonna demand that this Department of Justice take action. And if they don't, we will replace his sorry ass too. So we are about to march on this federal building, y'all. We're gonna got some more speakers right there. I got my brother Rossi Long, who was right there also on the front lines when all this shit went down. Also a cultural activist. Might bless us up with some flows, hopefully. And we're gonna have some more speakers over there, y'all. But we're gonna keep it fucking moving.
All right, y'all. Let's do this. Who wants to lead some chants? Who wants to lead some chants? Y'all lead some chants? Comrades, somebody lead some chants. We got the drum. We got the stage. We got it. Powerful, small, but mighty power of the people group right here. So let me give it up to our loved one, our comrade right up here.
Well, I like to say no justice, no peace. Abolish the police. Some people like to say no racist police. But I actually think that's sort of an oxymoron. It's a racist system, so they are all going to be racist. So let's try the abolish one, okay? No justice.
No peace.
Abolish
Police.
no justice.
No peace. Abolish police.
No justice.
No peace. Abolish police.
Justice, no peace.
Abolish police. No justice, no peace. Abolish police.
No justice,
No peace. Abolish police.
no justice,
No peace. Abolish police.
no justice, no peace. Abolish police. No justice, no peace. Abolish police. Abolish police. Everyone, we're going to head this way. Go slow. Welcome to the racist system.
I don't know how many people are here, but I don't know, 200, 300, 400, maybe 500 people. It's raining. It's been raining. So this is now going towards the federal building in Oakland, which is a couple blocks away from City Hall. So how many of you guys are bots? Press +1 if you're a bot. Damn. If you guys don't calm down, I'm going to have to take the chats off the screen. If you want to be a mod, let me know. +1 if you're a bot. +1 if you're a bot. Guys, I'm going to take the chat off the screen. I don't have the ability to mod anyone. But if you want to be a mod, send me a message. And I'll do it later. We've made it to the federal building. We all gotta stop and smell the flowers sometimes.
I mean, the reality is that it's real. We've been chanting this for a long time. And these motherfuckers are getting ready. They're attacking women's rights all the way after day, we see these pigs go free or some slap on the wrist.
I choose revolution.
We look at the pipelines. We look at the climate conference. We look at the immigrants in these other countries, Bangladesh, and other places that are crying that we will be underwater. But yet and still, these capitalist imperialists plan on drilling and mining and polluting even more. Tell me what you choose. We see the plan they have in their schools. They won't teach the basic history of this country. And they're willing to go down over it, over the reality of slavery being the foundation of this country, and the decimation and still decimation of our native brothers and sisters. That's the future they have. It's a whitewashed lie of America. What do you choose? You ain't never lied. And so what do they run us? They say, well, we're gonna have another piece of legislation. And they drag their representatives, their Al Sharptons out to tell us to pray over us. Well, fuck praying over us. What do you choose? And then they got us fighting amongst ourselves. Saying, oh, well, you can't be in this group or you can't go to this place because you ain't the right color, you ain't the right gender, or you ain't the right whatever. You got organizations out here just saying, I own the streets. Well, bullshit. We have to represent for all the people. In the name of Anthony and JoJo, what do you choose? I choose revolution. And if you choose revolution, then you gotta learn about revolution. You gotta learn that it is not about making up some beautiful dream of abolishing the police in the middle of a capitalist nightmare. That's like saying we're going to get rid of the slave catchers and a slavery-based system. They ain't going to do it. We're going to have to fight. And right now, the odds are not in our favor. We got to organize. We got to be those tens and those hundreds that organize those thousands and millions to go toe-to-toe, to defeat them and bring into being a system that is based on the needs of the people, a socialist economic system, in the name of the planet and all the peoples of the world. That's what a real revolution is about. That's what the new communism is about. Don't be afraid. Don't snipe. Don't look at scared. Get down. Check out. Run with. Get involved. What you got? What you got, Richard?
We could be around there that everybody doesn't have it all figured out. But what we do know is we got to get past this capitalist imperialist colonization nightmare. So on that note, we have a brother who's going to come sit for us and say a few words who could help us in this process.
Say all power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people. What's the call? Free them all. What's the call? What's the call? Yes, indeed. My name is Ron C. Lund. This is serving of the people, you know? Oakland, California is Panther Town. This is where we at. It's a lonely territory as well. Originally. We don't forget any of the ancestors that suffered through 500 years of this white supremacy, this capitalism, this imperialism, this fascism. No matter what's going on, from the crack house to the White House, to the rotten house, real cracker, you know what I mean? Real talk. We went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, when the uprising was going down, days after Jacob Blake was shot 7 times in the back by the pig in Kenosha. We was out there in the uprising, working with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., who was the president and the chairman of the Black Panther Party Cubs, was carrying the legacy of the Black Panther Party. And when we went out there, we learned about what was happening on the ground. Because don't forget, this was All right? And so these two allies, these two comrades in the spirit of John Brown, they gave their life for this cause. And we met the forces, the family and friends of both of these young men. And they spoke to their character and to their dedication and to their sacrifice, what they gave in solidarity, in true solidarity. We're not looking for this system to validate shit. We know the truth. We understand what's going on. Because we stand on the shoulders of some giants, y'all. They just installed a beautiful memorial for the supreme servant of the people, Dr. Huey P. Newton. If we just study what was before us, we'll understand where we are today. As Malcolm X says, history is best qualified to reward our research. But this police terrorism is not just confined to Oscar Grant, George Floyd, Jacob Blake. Tell them their names. Say their names. Who else? That's right. I'm going to tell y'all two more names you might not have heard about, but it's right here in the Bay Area. Tyrell Wilson. Put a fist in there if you heard Tyrell Wilson. Say justice for Tyrell Wilson. Justice for them all. There's also Vladimir Abolishing. Vladimir Abolishing. Both of these gentlemen were gunned down by Danville police. Danville, aka Klansville. Alright? Supposedly called the safest town in California. But safe for who? Alright? I'm gonna have my sister, Veronica Benjamin, who knew Tyrell Wilson, who was a houseless member of the Danville community, who was not safe in the safest town, who was shot in the face at point blank range. That video is online. It didn't go viral. People ain't seen it. This sister's out here trying to organize the people, and hardly anybody's showing up. And this pig, Andrew Hall, has been charged and tried and convicted. Yeah, make some noise for that. All right? California since John Smith's bitch ass got convicted. You know what I mean? All right? So this is a historic victory, but we still got to push because he got convicted for shooting down Vladimir Abolishing 2 years ago. But he's not even been charged for the shooting of Tyrell Wilson point blank range in the face. You understand? So I want my sister comrade right here to break down to you how you can get involved with these ongoing campaigns. Because you're going to be out here to show dedication. But it doesn't stop today. We're in solidarity today. Shit, who knows what's going to happen in the morning? On December 4th, 1969, in Chicago, Illinois, which had the largest numbers of the Black Panther Party. Young Chairman Fred Hampton, 21 years old, was gunned down by the COINTELPRO, along with Defense Captain Mark Clark from the Illinois chapter, or the Peoria chapter of the Illinois branch of the Black Panther Party. Murder! This day, December 4th, we commemorate the Black Panther Thugs. We commemorate that every year. It's called IRD, International Revolutionary Day. Y'all should go watch that movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. I'm going to tell you why you should watch that. That's the movie. We made revolutionary leaps and bounds in that film. That film was sanctioned officially by the family of Senator Fred Hampton. All right? Make some noise for that. Myself and love the people, you know what I mean? So support that. December 4th, International Revolutionary Day. Check out SaveTheHensHouse.org. We're still fighting to preserve the legacy of Chairman Fred, which is under attack. There's all kinds of groups, whether it's a podcasting group, whether it's a so-called gun club group, whether it's whatever they call institute, whatever it is. They all want to take the chairman's name. They had a pocket. It's out of order and it's open for that. Y'all gotta respect what's going on in this movement, y'all. We got leadership. You know what I'm saying? Even here in Oakland, we have leadership connected to the Black Panther Party. Because when we do these protests, we see the brothers
There were 5 of us, in addition to the family. 5 of us, 5 women from Denver, middle-aged, white ladies, grown up, and I would like to see much more of your faces there in January when the sentencing happens, so we can demand that Andrew Hall does a serious time for the 2 murders, and that the DA is charged for the killing of Tyrell Wilson. It's still ongoing, but we all know what happened. Thank you, Justice for Abolishing, Justice for Tyrell Wilson.
Hey, you remember when they decided not to really charge anybody for Brianna? Right. You know, I had one of those breakdowns where I decided what I wanted to do was blow up the picture of 500 people that had been was the victim of police homicide. Because I wanted to show something. I wanted to show that they couldn't continue to say that there was only a few bad apples when we dying every motherfucking day. You know, so like I like to spit some truth. Do any of y'all think that if I had a fucking AK, that I'd have been able to walk around the town without getting shot? You know, do you think that my children would have been able to walk around and not be fucking arrested? So at a certain fucking point, let's get to the reality that some people are being sanctioned by the state. You know, and I got tired of hearing that bullshit ass story that it was a juvenile. My kids get murdered when they juvenile from the tomb to the womb. That's the way they've been playing the shit in my neighborhood. So at a certain point, you know, you know, because at a certain point, some reality got to come out of here. You know, because we can talk about what happened as a result of Rottenhouse. But all of us now was getting attacked a year before that. You know, when they was taking our soldiers and kidnapping our soldiers and putting bleach on our clothes, nobody was saying a fucking thing. You know, when they was punching our tires when we was going to demonstrations, nobody was saying shit. You know, so at a certain point, when you get to vigilante and terrorism, then suddenly somebody's a fucking juvenile. You know, what do we call white supremacists and militia? You know, like I said at first, I got homeboys that couldn't show up because they scared that if they show up, they would get another strike. You know, so when you're looking at me, you're looking at somebody that have been disarmed as a result of a felony conviction. So that means that when we was rolling in Wisconsin, the people who was packing was the women in the crew that didn't have it. You know, so at a certain point, how do we protect ourselves when our numbers are so outrageous when we're getting sent to the pen? You know, and on every felony conviction, the first thing they take is your right to bear arms. So at a certain point, we don't even have the ability to defend our own fucking community legally. So as a point, if you're an ally of mine, you need to get closer to me because I need a comrade. Don't need another fucking ally. Because they seem to disagree. You know, so like, you know, I just want to keep it 100 for just a few minutes. You know, and generally I've been practicing on how to get spiritual, but I don't know how to get spiritual if they keep being murderous. They seem to break my tranquility. You know, so at a certain point, you know, how do we gather? Today was an important day for me. Woo! You know, and I like to thank George, and I like to thank some of my homies, because we had to send money back to Wisconsin. You know, because at a certain point, when they start grabbing our people, and they start pouring bleach on our clothes, and they start cutting up our tires at demonstrations, what do we have to say about that stuff? And I need to tell y'all, if y'all don't recognize that you're living in a bubble, go to Alabama. that you living in a bubble, go to North Carolina, South Carolina. If you don't recognize that you living in a bubble, go to Wisconsin. This shit here is easy. We got a little rain, and some people were scared to come to the demo. You know, and so how many people do they get to kill before we ask the question, when is enough enough? When will we get tired of it? When will we teach our children that they have a right to live and a right to breathe? When will we stop mothers from grieving? When will we stop our community from being frightened? So like I said, I got homies that didn't show up because they thought that the first thing it's going to do is pitch a riot, and when everybody else go home and get a misdemeanor, we get 25 years to life. So I'm one of those people that got enough strikes to strike out a whole goddamn baseball team. I don't have a strike to give. So when I come to a demonstration, I pray that it's peaceful. Because most of the time, I recognize when everybody gets bail, I don't. So at this point, you know, I just need to say, I need to say when I was in prison, I was trained by the Black Liberation Army. I don't know who the fuck y'all was trained by. I don't know who y'all was trained by. I know that when I was in prison serving a life sentence, I was trained by the Black Liberation Army. So I don't know who in the fuck y'all was trained by. You know, and I got out to actually do something. You know, and you know, when some of y'all moved to Oakland willingly, I got drugged to Oakland in chains. You know, so not everybody moved here voluntarily. Some of us come from different places. And some of us coming from here after we had been on the run. And when I got to Oakland, that's the way I moved into your city. In chains. You know, so like I just need to say, I appreciate y'all coming out because I got homies standing a little bit closer to fire in Wisconsin. You know, because some of them ain't gonna put down either. And when I call back there, when we say all of us are none, I can hear them all in the background hollering all of us are none. So one time, when you yell loud enough, I can let it. All of us! All of us! All of us!
We march into the federal building because this building right here in Oakland represents the epitome of white supremacy, U.S. imperialism, and everything that's wrong in this fucking world. Going back to 1492, this is occupied, unceded, Muwekma Ohlone territory, y'all. This is stolen land, built on the genocide of indigenous peoples and the enslavement of our African relatives. And the very first police in this nation were the slave patrols and the cavalry. You were an enslaved person of African descent, and you stepped off of the slave plantation, you would be hunted, you would be brutalized, and you would be possibly killed. You were an indigenous person, you stepped off of the reservation, you would be hunted, you would be brutalized, and you would be possibly killed. So how the fuck do you reform that? You don't. You dismantle it. You abolish it. You replace it. We keep us safe. And we don't have to look to Kenosha to stand up for racial justice. We were just here about a month ago at the federal building. Why? Because our mayor, Libby Schaaf, who needs to get the fucking Schaaf. Not my mayor. Not my fucking mayor, man. Not my fucking mayor. Not my mayor. But that fascist has invited highway patrol, has invited the sheriffs, has invited ATF, has invited the FBI to police our streets as an act of terrorism. Because what her agenda is the same stolen land gang. Only now they call it gentrification. It ain't nothing but a fucking land grab. And what they do is they terrorize black and brown communities to make us uncomfortable, to push us out, to pave way so that more settler colonizers can settle in motherfucking Oakland. And occupy unceded, Muwekma, Ohlone, indigenous land. So we don't have to look to Kenosha. Jonathan Cortez was murdered in the Fruitvale by FBI agents because somebody's fucking mayor
Not my mayor.
Not my motherfucking mayor. I'd say the mayor of them fools up in the hills. Because let's be real, Oakland is a tale of two cities. And right now we're fighting for the soul of Oakland. And right now, standing in solidarity with our relatives in Kenosha, we're fighting for the soul of our people. I can't say this nation because this nation was founded on racism. It was built on racism. But the souls of our people, all the ancestors who have fought, bled, wept, and died so that we could be here. That's why we have an incumbent responsibility to keep fighting. Because everything that we don't fight for and win today, our children inherit. Do you want to put that fucking burden on our kids?
No.
Or are we going to fight today?
We're gonna fight today.
Are we going to fight today?
Yeah.
Are we going to fight today?
Yeah.
Are we going to fight today?
Yeah.
I want to call up my sister Liz Soup. Yeah. Come up. Because we're building power here in Oakland, so it'll be a fucking takeover, not a makeover, y'all.
Hi everybody, my name is Liz Huck. I'm the executive director for Oakland Rising Action. I'm Korean, living on Ohlone land. I grew up here in Deep East. Woo, y'all. How do you feel today? How'd you feel this morning?
Bad.
Yeah, you felt that, right?
Yeah.
I felt that all the way to my core. It took me back to think about my people in Korea, why I'm on this land. That when you have dictatorships backed by racist colonizers, you feel that. It's rooted in my blood. So when I see that happen to my black and brown siblings, to my indigenous siblings on this land, my heart breaks. And earlier today, someone said to me, stop stressing, you know. I was like, whew, don't tell me that. Because if I let that go, I lose my humanity. I lose my ability to look at each and every one of you and connect with you. I could look at each and every one of you and connect with you, connect with your spirit, connect with this land, connect our hearts. That I could take my heart and feel the people in Kenosha. That I could feel the people in New York. I could feel the people in Palestine. I could feel the people in the Philippines. I could feel the people in Central and South America. That I could feel that. That if we lose that part of ourselves, we'll lose that humanity in us. Then I'll lose hope. Y'all, I came out tonight because I wanted to be hopeful. I wanted to stand next to our brothers and our sisters when all of us are none, and with courage, and to be out here and feel hopeful because I needed to connect with my humanity. I needed to connect with every single one of you today. When I came to Oakland Rising, y'all, I did not believe in this democracy. I don't. I do not. But when I think about what power in this structure looks like, it really looks like coming out and really mobilizing your power, right? It really is about building power. Like, you can't just go and be like, oh, let me just check this off with a vote. You take that vote, and what do you do the next day? You walk up and say, fuck you, do what I told you to do. You walk up and you say, Libby, fuck you, do what I told you to do. You roll up on the federal building and you tell them, fuck you, do what I told you to do. Stand up for our people. See our humanity. So I can't end on that, y'all. I don't ever come out to rallies and just stand here listening. I need a chant. To chant with me? Chant with me? Okay, I'm going to say 1. We are the people. 2. A little bit louder. 3. We want justice for our people. 1. We are the people. 2. A little bit louder. Justice for our people. 1. I love the people. 2. A little bit louder. 3. We want justice for our people. 1. We are the people. 2. A little bit louder. 3. We want justice for our people. 1. We are the people. 2. A little bit louder. 3. We want justice for our people. 1. We are the people. 2. A little bit louder. 3. We want justice for our people. Let them hear you. We're on the way to Kenosha. Lift your voices now.
All right, let's welcome up our brother, our comrade, Jose Bernal. Yo, can you hear me back there? We all keep this chant going, all right? I just gotta hear it. They gotta hear us. Everyone here has to hear us. No justice! No peace! I said no justice! No peace! I said no justice! No peace! So I want to tell you that this morning when I turned on the news, already I was hearing this false statement, this false narrative. You'll hear pundits, news organizations, all these motherfuckers out there saying that the system is broken, that the system failed us. You and I know that that is a lie because the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The system upholds white supremacy. The system is designed to harm black, brown, indigenous communities. The system was designed to exterminate us. Period. And so, as we watch the news, as we see what's happening across the country, and as we see what is happening in Kenosha, we know that white supremacy is alive and well in Wisconsin. But let's not be mistaken, because white supremacy is alive and well right here in Oakland. And we must vehemently, adamantly, fiercely, and unapologetically reject that shit. We reject white supremacy. We reject state violence. We must stand together. Because I'm going to bring Ari, as a formerly incarcerated man, a person, I'm going to bring our incarcerated brothers into this space. Because just this week, 2 of our brothers died in the fucking hellhole in the torture chamber known as Santa Rita Jail. That is disgusting. That is fucking disgusting. I have no words for that. A father of 2 found dead, executed by the jail. So we have these systems in place right here in our hometown that uphold white supremacy, that uphold the destruction, the annihilation of our people. And so we must stand up and we must speak out against it. And it is not enough. It is not enough to just show up to one rally. It is not enough to wait for a national tragedy to come out when things are happening right here in our own backyard, in our own front yard, in our own streets. We have these fucking institutions in our own hometown that are here to annihilate us. And so we must stand together and we must do more than just march. We have to organize. We have to organize. Join organizations like Courage, like APTP, like Oakland Rising that are doing the work right here. So we have to organize. And on that, I'm going to end it on a chant because that's how we roll. Fuck the police! Fuck the police! Fuck the police! Fuck the police! Abolish 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 the police! October of 2019, I traveled to Cuba. And you know what U.S. imperialism is scared of, right? What are all the things that the U.S. propaganda, what do they tell us about Cuba? Oh my God, be fearful. It's dangerous, all these things. You know what I saw? I saw probably one of the most beautiful, powerful social models I've ever witnessed with my own two eyes. And that's the power of being able to travel and have a global perspective. To be able to see and think about what a different world could look like. But what we've also been seeing is the rise of fascism. It didn't just happen right here, y'all. We saw it in Brazil, we saw it in all these places. And all those fascists, they was loving each other. They were having like a fucking love affair. Remember that shit? Yeah. And one of those fascists was right there in the fucking Philippines. So we have our Filipino comrades, our Pinay comrades coming right up here. Pastor Janelle, come on up, please.
Tell me what you want, what you really want. Justice. Tell me what you need, what you really need. Justice. Tell me what you want, what you really want. Justice. Tell me what you need, what you really need. Justice. How we gonna get it? People power. 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 Thank you all for inviting us here into this space to be able to grieve with you, but to also be able to be empowered by and alongside with each and every one of you. I'm Pastor Janelle Abola. I am representing the Philippine Solidarity Task Force of California, Nevada, United Methodist Church. We're also members of Malaya and the International Committee for Human Rights in the Philippines. Yesterday, we had an action in Washington, D.C., in which we laid out 3,000 chinelas, slippers, chanclas, if you will, in front of the Capitol. And we laid out 3,000 slippers to represent the 30,000 people that have been killed from Duterte's war on drugs. Fascist police is not new to us, especially us in the Philippines, where we have been fighting militarization, where we have been fighting fascism and the increase of fascism since Duterte took power. We know that we are here in solidarity with folks because our solidarity allows us to live into our collective liberation. As people of faith, or as a person of faith, I don't follow a Jesus that just stood by while things were happening, while people were getting killed, while oppressive systems continued doing their thing. I follow a Jesus that went into institutions and overturned tables. I follow a Jesus that overturned systems that said, that proclaimed that these institutions would crumble and become demolished. I follow a Jesus that believed in the power of people, he himself being a peasant, being a worker, being someone who struggled alongside folks as a refugee, as an immigrant. That is the Jesus that I follow, and that is the faith that I follow. And I encourage all people of faith, and if you have folks of faith around you too, remind them of that Jesus. This Jesus did not believe in a false peace, but believed in a peace that was genuine, a peace that was a result of justice. For us in the Philippines, not only as a person of faith, but as a Filipino, my heart grieves and breaks with you all, knowing that our hearts are breaking with you. That leaves space for us to be able to rise up as community, to rise up in solidarity with one another, to know that the connections that the police are making with one another, that the police that's being funded by the U.S. in the Philippines and the police that continues to be funded here, that when we come together, we will bring those systems down. These systems will be abolished. They will be no more. As long as we continue to come together and believe in a higher sense of justice, meaning the people's justice, and as long as we keep living into it in the day-to-day, by being community with one another, by showing up for one another like this, and by taking up the action of organizing with one another, we will be able to win our liberation. That's not just an idealist wish and hope that we have. It's a material wish. We've seen people continue to rise up around the world. We've seen people continue to rise up and show solidarity for abolition and for the Philippine Human Rights Act. We want to take money away from the Philippine military police, from Oakland PD, from the Philippine military, so that we can have what we need in order to live, in order to thrive, in order to continue loving one another and being family with one another. We want to be able to show up with one another, and they keep trying to stop us. We're here to remind one another and the world that we are here. We will not back down. The more of us they try to repress, the more of us they try to silence and kill, we will continue rising up and being resurrected more and more until our liberation is won. Remembering that our struggles are connected. We're not just here in solidarity. We're here because we are all fighting for our collective liberation. Liberation for Black communities means liberation for brown communities, means liberation for all of our communities. And we continue to stand in solidarity with you all. Let's end with this chat. Long live international solidarity!
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 Join the struggle, do not be afraid. Amen.
So, we got Rose from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and we also got my sister from another mister, probably the most fierce police, somebody fighting against police terrorism in the nation. My sister, Kat Brooks, is also here. It's going to be our last speaker. And before that, we'll have a message from our comrade Judy, and then we want to make sure everybody gets home safe, y'all. Just know, not to make people paranoid, but just know there's undercovers out there. Know that there's people who want to harm us, people who want to hurt us. So we want everyone to go home in groups and everybody to be home safe, y'all. So without further ado, let's bring up Rose from the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
No justice, no peace. No justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice.
No peace!
The U.S. court system said that Rottenhouse was innocent. Do we believe that?
No!
The capitalist court system that represents the millionaires and the billionaires. The capitalist court system that represents the fascists and the imperialists. The capitalist court system said that one of their own is innocent when he murdered 2 people. But what is the people's verdict? What do we say? What is the people's verdict? What is the people's verdict? Rittenhouse is guilty. The cops who escorted him off of the scene are guilty. The cops who shot Jacob Blake are guilty. The cops who murdered every single one of these Black and brown people who we were in the streets marching all last summer for are guilty. But we have seen not a shred of justice from this court system. And we know that as long as this court system stands, that will continue to be true. Because that court system is doing exactly what it was designed for. Those cops are doing exactly what their purpose is, which is to defend a system, a racist, capitalist, imperialist system. The only way that we can end this, the only way that we can get any kind of accountability for all of these murderers, the only way that we can stop the killings is to fight for a new system.
the pipelines, any investment in
That's
that
right.
state military.
We need to stop the pipelines. We need to stop the military because these are all parts of the same system. We saw over the course of the pandemic that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk with their little space program, they've become billions of dollars richer at the expense of the misery of the vast majority of people during this pandemic. We've seen that overall the billionaires have gotten so much richer, while the rest of us have gotten so much poorer. We've seen the U.S. military continue to bomb and destroy and devastate countries around the world, continue to fund the Duterte regime, and continue to fund the oppression of Palestine. All of these things are connected, and we need to fight for a new system. We need to fight for a system where the people are in power. We need to fight for a system called socialism. We need to fight for a system where black and brown people do not have to fear for their lives. We need to fight for a system where people who need abortions know that they are going to have access to them and not be criminalized for it. We need to fight for a system where, when the pandemic occurs, we have an immediate response to get people the masks that they need, the vaccines that they need, everything that we need, the food and the shelter to survive. We need to fight for a system where, when there are plenty of homes to go around, no one is homeless. We need to fight for a system where the resources of our society, the vast resources of our society, the richest country in the history of countries, are used for the people and for the planet, not for the profits of the billionaires. So, if you're ready to fight, let's get organized. Let's stay in the streets. The biggest lesson of last summer is that the only way that we get any kind of reform, any kind of concession out of these capitalist ruling class is when we are in the streets and they are scared of a revolution. And so that means that we need to stay in the streets. And we need to keep them scared of a revolution until we actually win it. And we put the people in power. So let's stay in the streets. Let's keep organizing. Let's build this. Let's build the next one bigger.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, we are the vast majority, the working class, the poor and oppressed people. We are the vast majority of society. The number of billionaires is tiny. The number of millionaires is tiny. And so we will take the power. We're going to fight. We're going to stay in the streets until we win. Are you with me?
Yeah.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
When I say native, y'all say land. Native,
Land.
native,
Land.
When I say defund, you say police. Defund,
Police.
defund,
Police.
I'm about to bring up probably the most fierce activist fighting against police terrorism in the country, my sister from another Mr. Cat Brooks. What's up, Oakland? Y'all know better than that. When I say, what's up, Oakland? One more again. What's up, Oakland?
What's up?
My mama's supposed to do that shit. Y'all some gangsters out here in this weather. Thank you for coming out and being in community. Thank you for coming out and being in community on today, right? I mean, I don't think anybody here was actually surprised by the verdict, right? I mean, no one actually thought that white supremacy was going to hold a white supremacist accountable, right? Right? But it's still sometimes, particularly I'm talking to the Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, it still can feel like a punch in the gut every time American version of justice spits on our skin, right?
Yes.
But I stopped looking to American court systems to define justice for me a very long time ago.
when American courts robbed my father from me and sent him to an American concentration camp at the age of 8 years old, I was super clear about what this system is and what it's about. So rather than being bowled over from that collective punch in the gut that we all just took, stand up and keep fucking fighting. Let this be a reminder of why we are building alternative systems. There is no fixing this system. This system is not broken. It will never, ever, ever deliver justice. Not the true meaning of justice. I mean, it gave America's brand of justice today. This is why we've got to stop relying on these systems. We have to stop calling the police. We have to support the creation of alternative models. Yes. We have to invest in mutual aid. Yes. We have to fight like hell for our dollars to rip them out of the bloated budget of the Oakland Police Department and put it in the hands of the people. So we are actually creating pathways to safety instead of this ineffective, inefficient, violent rat wheel that keeps our people cycled in and out of jails and prisons. Yes. 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 So it was a hit. And my condolences to the families of the men who were murdered by Kyle Rittenhouse. Yep. Because they learned a lesson that we know, right? Mm-hmm. Black life don't matter to the system. Indigenous life don't matter to the system. And ain't nothing a bigot hates more than an N-word than an N-lover. Yep. It's always going to be like this. And so my hope is that this is inspiration for folks to continue to organize, to continue to fight, and continue to figure out how we extricate ourselves and our communities from this violent-ass system. Be clear that what is happening right now, so Kyle Rittenhouse was the first one. That's the first white supremacist on trial. There are 2 other trials happening right now of white supremacists. Yeah. The 3 white supremacists that murdered Ahmaud Arbery. And then the white supremacists that organized the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. In all 3 of these cases, egregious things have happened. So we know in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, the judge said, well, you can't call the people he murdered victims, but you can call the folks that were out there standing for Jacob Blake, looters and rioters. In the Ahmaud Arbery trial, somebody explained to me how in Brunswick, Georgia, with 25% of the population is black, there's 1 black person on that jury. And in Charlottesville, Virginia, where the plaintiffs are also, the defendants are also serving as their own attorneys because they couldn't afford their own, they're using that courtroom as an opportunity to spew the nastiest, most vile, violent, racist rhetoric. All of these things are legal in the American justice system. There is nothing out of bounds, out of order, or out of the norm of the rulings that the judges have been making and the way this has been playing out. Right. White supremacy is baked into every single institution of this country. It is as American as apple pie. Right. That's the conversation that we need to be having. Right. The other conversation that we need to be having, and what we all need to be on alert around, is that white supremacists, far-right extremists, white vigilantes, and the police are watching these proceedings. Okay. Not because they care about the fallen, right? But because they're trying to figure out what they can get away with. That's right. That's right. They are studying the arguments that are successful in these to defend these indefensible actions. Yep. We need to be on high alert and understand that they will employ these tactics and others as we continue to take to the streets. So we need to take care of ourselves and take care of each other, and yes, continue to build this movement and grow our numbers. We're not losing. If you walk away with anything, walk with us. We are not losing. It may be incremental. It may be slow. But since the first African was kidnapped and dropped off on these shores, and the cavalry was kidnapping and murdering our indigenous relatives, we have been resisting and we have been winning. I believe that we will win. 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 I believe believe that we will win. I 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 believe that we will win.
Much love and gratitude to our sister. We have an announcement from our loved one, our comrade Judy from Oakland Educators Association and the Workers' World Party, y'all.
I guess it's sort of announcement. You know, it's very hard to follow the real mayor of Oakland. And I want to thank Kat. Wherever she goes, whatever she does, she is leading the struggle. Because Kat was out here when so few people were out here after the assassination of Oscar Grant. And she has helped build the movement that we have today. So I'm speaking sort of just a little bit. I'm expressing solidarity from Workers' World Party. We are with you. We of course want to end the system. We think that, you know, in a sense that this is such a slam in the face against the entire Black Lives Matter movement, and we have to make sure that they don't get away with it. To allow this to happen in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I lived in Wisconsin for 10 years. It is absolutely outrageous. They cannot turn the clock back to the 50s. They cannot turn the time back to when they beat up and killed Emmett Till. We will not let that happen. Workers' World Party is committed to that. I am a teacher and I am a rep of the Oakland Education Association. And I will tell you, we deal with some of the same racism and the racist attacks within the union. We are totally with this movement to stop white supremacy, to tear down the system. The Oakland teachers and the Black Organizing Project last year led a campaign to get rid of the Oakland school police, and we have gotten rid of the Oakland school police. We want the police. We want all of the police out of the school. We are organizing, we are demanding Black reparations for the Black community for all of the harm that has been done to Black students. And I say that as a teacher who is part of a system that I know has committed harm. And we have to do better. And we have to fight not only for justice in Kenosha, we have to fight for justice in Oakland. Because there's not very much of a bubble in East Oakland and in West Oakland for the students who are struggling, for the Black and brown students who face racism every day, who face the police. So we're here today. I like the demand. I really do believe that we cannot reform the police. I do. Workers' World Party certainly does not believe that we can reform the system. We certainly need a revolution. But the Oakland Education Association very strongly believes that you're not going to be able to reform the police, that we're going to have to change it, that we're going to really have to change the type of society that we live in. So I'm going to say, no justice,
No peace.
abolish
Police.
no justice,
No peace.
abolish
Police.
no justice,
No peace.
abolish.
Police.
Thank you.
Y'all heard our sister Kat Brooks talk about building our own systems. One of those systems built from the ground up by the Anti-Police Terror Project was MH First. We got Ronnie from MH First speaking next.
Get the prisoners out.
Yes. Hi everyone. Sorry I'm not used to this. My name is Ronnie Boyd. I'm with MH First. Today while I was I think I did. Thank you. Today while I was at work,
All right, how's the audio?